Good morning. Welcome back to Tiff Reads Books, where I read books and I talk to you about them. This is my weekly wrap up. I'm going to talk to you about everything I read the first 7 days of September from Monday to Sunday. I used to do these Tuesday to Monday, and we're going to change them up now since the month started on a Monday, which is glorious. You may hear the dog squeaking a little bit. This is out of sight of his routine, so he may squeak a little bit. But I want to get this done before I go to work. So apologies if you hear something that sounds like a whistle or a bird or a smoke alarm. It's my dog. He's just a little grumpy. So anyway, everything I read. I have read a lot of Fool's Fate. We'll start with that. I am like 600 pages into a 900 page book. I've been listening to it almost primarily on audio. I think I've read like 4 or 5 pages physically, because I have been pretty busy and I've been doing a little challenge, which you'll see the video for at the end of this week. So I'll talk a little bit more about some of these books in that video, Fool's Fate being one of them. I'm currently obsessed. I'm making a lot of reels as memes over on Instagram, which has been fun. Trying to figure out how to not spoil it, but also putting my emotions into a reel has been a lot of fun. And I may start doing this a little bit more often for certain books that I'm enjoying, trying to figure out how to do it. Getting a little bit better at reel making, which is still not a medium I enjoy, but I at least enjoy making dumb jokes. I've made a couple of memes in my stories. I'll put one of them here. My favorite one is this one with Tintaglia and Thick. So I'm enjoying this book while also being emotionally overwhelmed. This is like, normally I don't really like the last book in the Hobb trilogies as much as I like the middle book, but this one's kind of reversed. I'm really liking Fool's Fate a lot more than I liked The Golden Fool, and I think it's because I'm less mad at Fitz in this one. He's making big leaps and improvements in his own understanding of himself in the world, which is amazing to see. He's such a character with so much slow growth that I want to shake all the time, but I also feel like he just needs a hug a lot of times. He's such a well-written character. I've often referred to him as black licorice because you either love him or you hate him. But he's like a perfectly done, unlikable but lovable character. Robin Hobb is such a good writer. So this is the 3rd book in the Tawny Man series, where we are back in Buckkeep after taking a little jaunt into the Bingtown and the Rain Wilds with the live ship traders. Now we're back, and we're kind of bringing Bingtown in a tiny bit into this series and joining the worlds together in a more meaningful way. Hugin's come over and put his head on my lap, so I'm just petting him. So that's what I'm doing with my hands. That's why my shoulders are moving. Can you go lay down, buddy? Go lay down. No, he does not want to go lay down. He's reached that age of like, I am 14 in 2 months. I can do whatever the hell I want, which is kind of frustrating. And sometimes I just kind of let him, but like, it's kind of frustrating because he's putting his safety in risk sometimes. Anyway, yeah, it's bringing those things together. We're getting some more of the dragon lore of this world, which is amazing and always enjoyable for me. And it just kind of starting to wrap things up for this series. Around 600 pages. Things are coming together. I've cried on the freeway only once, but I have been infinitely mad at Jade. So things I have finished. The first book I finished this month was The Truth of the Aleke, which is the sequel to The Lies of the Ajungo. So this is like 300 years after the first book. The second book is kind of hard to talk about without spoiling the first book. So in the first book, The Lies of the Ajungo by Moses Utomi, he is writing about Tutu, who is a young boy in this world where when you turn 13, they like cut out your tongue or you can go look for water. And so he goes and looks for water and discovers all the corruption of his government. And that's kind of as much as I can say about the novella without spoiling everything. So then this takes place 300 years later, where a myth has been built up around Tutu, and this one city that our main character, Osi, I believe, lives in. His character, he is a member of the population who wholeheartedly believes what the society has told him, while at the same time like being a very argumentative teen. And he ends up unwittingly on this adventure to kind of fight a war against these cultists who believe the opposite. Well, they don't really know what the cultists believe, but they make up lies about the occultists. And he kind of gets like kidnapped and has to have his whole life turned upside down, and then he's not sure what is actually the truth, and we are not sure what is actually the truth in a sense either. And it's really well done. I really enjoyed it. I think I liked the Lies of the Ajungo a little bit better, but I liked this one a lot in terms of the plot, but I think I liked the storytelling better in the Lies of the Ajungo. The third book is out. I have a hold on it through my library. It says I have 4 weeks left. I might get it this month because these are short. They're only like 100 pages, so I might get it this month. It just depends on how many things the other 3 people who have it also have on their Libby app. So I may go to the library and see if they have it physically just to finish it out this month. And then I read Undrowned. I can't remember the after the colon part, but it's like essays on Black feminism and resistance. And it wasn't quite done the way that I was hoping for it to be done. There was a lot of... It read to me like oracle cards. If you know what tarot cards are, oracle cards are another divination card set, but they don't have a prescribed set of numbers or symbols that are supposed to be on them. And the oracle cards are whatever the creator of the deck wants them to be. So like I have one that is like bones. It's like animal bones and crystals and flowers. And they'll put these pictures together and then tell you what you're supposed to take from the cards. My time limit on talking has ended, and so Hugin is like upset at me. He's fine. He's just being demanding lately. Anyway, and there's a couple of decks that I have been gifted and then didn't really enjoy using, where it was an animal and then it was like, here's the thoughts of this animal and here's the like lessons you can take from that animal to put into your like daily practice of like either meditation or, in the case of this book, resistance. So it read kind of like that. It was like, here's the dolphin, here's the lessons we can take from the dolphin, here's like and I just wasn't really a fan of that type of layout. It's not exactly what I was hoping for when I picked it up. When I initially put it on my TBR was because I think I saw it on a list of like, if you liked The Deep by River Solomon, here's a nonfiction you should read. And I can see that. I can see the connection between the two. And I just think it wasn't quite what I was looking for. There was a section on anti-capitalism that I was like, okay, this might be my section. This might be the one that I take something from. And I did not really enjoy any of the messages. For some reason, it felt the need to lump subsistence fishing into commercial fishing. And even the author was like, are you saying that these two types of fishing are the same? And she was like, yes, I am. And I was like, no, they're not. Like, you can't... I personally don't believe you can put those two things together, but I am not a specialist in that area. So I was kind of off put by that. And then the rest of it, I mean, it just wasn't for me. I have a little bit more thoughts, I think, in my vlog that's coming on Friday, on both of those too, if you want. And then that is 2 things I finished. The other 3 are all manga. So I finished the first book of Fullmetal Alchemist, and I kind of forgot how much I really enjoyed this as an anime when I watched it back in like 2013. I was late to the party, but I watched it in like 2013 and the full thing, and I really enjoyed it. And then I started watching Brotherhood and I was like, I don't know, because it wasn't the same, and I get very like set in my ways sometimes when things are different. So I will need to go back and watch Brotherhood when I finish the manga this time around. So I read the first book. Really like the layout, really like the story. It's kind of different than the way the show lays it out, because the show does like a little bit and then, if I remember correctly, flashes back, and then we get the whole story of how they ended up where they are. So the anime, you get a little piece of like a story and then you flash back and you get the whole story of how they ended up where they are. And the manga, it's piecemealing it out, like a little tiny bit in this chapter, a little tiny bit in this chapter, and each chapter would kind of be an episode, roughly. I think some of the chapters might be split into 2 episodes, given like what happened in the first chapter. I think some of that is like a couple episodes, but it's the way that it's done is, I think I'm liking it better this way. I was a little bit confused at first. I was like, wait, this isn't following what I remember from the anime. My memory of the anime could be a little bit like messy because it's been so long too. And maybe they did do it that way, but I don't think they did. So we're following two brothers, Edward and Alphonse, and Edward is a state alchemist, and alchemy is the magic of this world, which has these laws, and one of the laws is equivalent exchange. Whatever you put in, is what you're going to get out. You can't make something bigger. That's why, like, you're not supposed to, like, use it, for example, to bring back a dead person, right? But you could theoretically, but you're not supposed to, because what are you going to exchange for that, right? Are you going to be killing someone for it and all that type of stuff? Okay, so there's like these rules that go about it. I'm probably not explaining it perfectly, but there are rules, and a good magic system does have rules. And this one has very strict ones that have very immediate repercussions, which is how our main character lost his arm and his leg, and so he has a prosthetic. And our other main character, his soul is attached to a suit of armor. So we have the two of them who are very identifiable, going around and kind of solving these like little mysteries within each city. One of the things I really liked is that there is a very distinct social message in each of the chapters so far. And I always kind of forget that anime and manga that I really like does that. There is a social message. Here's a fascist. Here's what fascism is. Here's why it's wrong. And here's how people can be easily swept up by fascists. That's like the first chapter. These types of little things I really enjoy throughout as you go. And yeah, it's just, I'm enjoying it. I'm halfway through the second book. I just had to put it down, and then I was out in the field yesterday, so I didn't want to bring a physical book with me. So I read 2 volumes of Hat Atelier, which an atelier, I looked up, if you didn't know, because I didn't, is a workshop where a craftsman works. So it's just a French word for that. So I am 2 volumes into that. We're following Coco, who has always been obsessed with magic, and one day she gets like the secret of the magic revealed to her, and then learns that she's always had the ability to do it because magic is able to be done by everyone, but that's the secret. And someone sold her a book when she was a small child that has all of these spells in it. So she starts doing the spells, and catastrophe happens, as how these types of stories usually work. And she gets whisked away to a school where she's like, kind of a school. She's going to be an apprentice where she's going to learn how to be a witch so that she can find the person who gave her the book and fix the problem that she caused. But she has to first grow into her skills. And we kind of have this conflict between her and another character who is a perfectionist and like has to be the best and gets down on herself when she's not the best. And Coco is kind of like, I know I'm not the best. I know I'm way behind everyone because all of you grew up knowing these types of things and I didn't, because she's like an outsider. And so she's like she has like contingency plans. She's like, if this fails, we'll try something else. If this fails, we'll try that. Like, she's like, I don't think I can do it this way, so what way can I do it? She's a little problem solver. And which is what happens when you grow up in poverty and unprivileged, is you have to solve problems to solutions that other people just go, oh, I have a thing for that. And you're like, well, I had to make a thing for that. And yeah, it looks funny and it's not as nice as yours, but it works for me. And so it's kind of seeing that type of thing reflected. And Hugin came back down to demand breakfast. He's okay. Because the thing is, I give it to him and he won't eat it until I tell him he has to and argue with him. So he just wants his routine. Can you lay down? So I read 2 volumes of that. There's like a tenuous friendship starting kind of, and like at least understanding between the 2 characters that are kind of like fighting a little bit, or being like nemesis in the first book. So there's a bigger world getting built. It's not my favorite, but I think it's good. Some of it is a little bit young because it's like, oh, you always had the power within you type of like thing, where I'm like, it's just a very 90s cartoon kind of trope for me, which I do enjoy. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I have a hold on the 3rd book. It's supposed to come through in 2 to 3 weeks, so we'll see when that one comes through. And then I had to put, so coming up, I'm going to finish Fool's Fate. I'm going to finish the next 2 volumes in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I'm probably going to pick up The Wild Robot as an easy read this week. I am still working on my vlog for the next 2 days, which is a challenge that I'm doing. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do next. So it's a busy week. It's a busy month right now. Yesterday I had to work on a Sunday, and I had to go out to Seattle for like 7 hours. And then with traffic and stuff, I was gone for like 10 hours. Okay. So I have one more Sunday coming up, and 2 Mondays that I have to go, because I think it's 4 days total. Yeah, it's 4 days total. So I have 2 Mondays and a Sunday coming up still. So it's going to be kind of a busier month with that and a lot of work things going on. So we'll see how much I get read physically. I'm trying to do the 30 manga in 30 days, but it probably won't fully happen, but we'll see. Because I have a lot of holds on things. If I don't want to buy things, they tend to be harder to get. So I may go peruse my library and see what they have physically on my way home today, but we'll see. So, I did not bring the projects downstairs, but you will see all of the projects in the vlog. So if you're interested in the crochet projects, you'll see them in the vlog. And I think maybe what I might start doing is a monthly project wrap up of like, here's what like craft projects I finished, because I don't do a monthly book wrap up anymore because I do these weeklies. So I may start doing a monthly craft project wrap up and show you everything I finished throughout the week. But we'll see. We'll see, because sometimes it might just be like, I finished this one thing. But I have a lot of works in progress. So anyway, let me know anything that you're reading, or if you've read anything off this list and you have any opinions. And I'll talk to you soon with something else.